So basically, Jerome and I were doing errands and we are like driving around and stuff. And at the end of like Sundays and Mondays, we always pick up our sisters because both of our sisters work together downtown, and we pick them up at the train station like at every Sunday and Mondays, right? So we're like, let's just like do errands today, blah blah. Oh no, it was a Monday. Yeah, it was a Monday that I called the cops. Anyways, um, so this random day we were like, oh, let's like go to the train station early, and we got like Wendy's because we haven't had Wendy's in a long time, so we were just like snacking on some Wendy's, and we're like, oh, let's just like wait for them in the parking lot, right? We're like a good like I would say like 30 minutes early. So we pull up to the parking lot where we usually pick up our sisters, and there's this like guy that was like jumping and running around, and if you know, you know, like you just know like they're not okay. There's like something going on. They might be on under the influence. I don't really know, but this person was like shirtless, and he was like pulling his pants down and stuff like that. And we're like, this is not normal. What the heck? So we didn't call the cops on him like right away, right? Because we're just like, he didn't do anything. You know what I mean? So like we were just like, okay, we'll just like monitor this man's, right? So he's like walking, and then he goes to the bus stop, and then there's like people waiting at the bus stop, and like he starts like, I wouldn't say her maybe, I don't know, I don't really know what he was doing exactly, but he was like jumping around, and like we as of this time we didn't see him touch anybody, but he was just like in people's face and like sitting beside people and like jumping around and like talking to them and stuff like that. And we were just like really worried because if our sisters like, because like when they exit like the train, they have to like go over like this bridge, and then they have to go downstairs, and this is the area that this guy was at, right? So we're like, oh, like I felt like really like protective at that point because I was like planning in my head like, okay, like if they come, like what should we do, right? um but like at this time we were just like watching this guy, like if he were to do anything to anybody else, because there's this other girl that was at the bus stop like by herself, but like at this time the crazy guy was just like, okay, I wouldn't say crazy, I shouldn't say crazy, sorry. This guy that seems unwell was like kind of like in the face of this other guy, so he's jumping around and stuff like that, right? And then we noticed that there's these two people on bikes, and they were like circling around the area and like watching. It's like a dad, he looks like he's like in his like late 40s, and then a kid that's like in his like late teenage years, biking around and watching this guy. We're like, oh, like they're watching him, right? So then after a while we talked to the guys on the bikes, and we're like, oh, like are you watching him too? And they're like, yeah, like this guy was chasing us around, and this guy was chasing us around, and sorry, my brain. Oh, and like what the heck? Yeah, he was just chasing us around and like stuff like that. And then at this point we saw him chasing other people from the bus stop, and like this guy was like running after people, and people were running away at this point, right? So we're like, maybe we should call the police now, because this seems like a issue, right? So we call the police, and we're like, hi, there's a person that's like under the influence, that seems to be under the influence, that is like chasing people. We didn't see him hit anybody, but he seems to be like bothering people in this area. So like we gave them the address of where we were, and they were like, okay, we're gonna send someone over to you, and please like update us and call again if there's any changes to the scene, right? And we're like, okay. So we were there for a good 20 minutes, and the police didn't come and show up. And then we were like, because this guy was like running around the parking lot, and we were in the car, and like he would like charge and run at us, and like we would like drive away. And bro, I was so scared because I was like, oh my god, he's gonna like chase us and stuff like that. And then Jerome was like, Angela, we're in a car, girl. We're in a car right now. If anything, we'll run him over. I'm like, we're not doing that, okay? He was just joking, but like, obviously, like, we're in a car. He can't do anything, even if he does like run up to us, right? So like, we were running away, like driving away, and like he would chase us over to another parking lot, and then we would lose him because we would drive kind of farther away, and then he would walk back to the station, right? He would walk back to the station, and then we just like waited a little bit because we didn't want to like run into him. And then like we drove back, and we got encountered the bike people again, and they were like, they came up and talked to us again. We're like, oh, we called the police. Like, you guys can go. Like, you don't have to stay here, because we will stay here until the police arrive, right? And then they were like, oh, like, the guy was like chasing people, and like he punched somebody. A kid like tried to like ask us. Oh, the kid that got punched asked us for a ride, right? And I was like, what the heck? So then we called the police again. We're like, hey, update on the situation, but the guy punched a minor, right? And they were like, okay, we're gonna send someone. It's been like well over 20 minutes at this point, so we're just like, bro. And then a good like 5 minutes later, we see the police pull up, but the guy like ran away across the street, right? And we were trying to like look for where he was, but we saw the police car, and we were like following the police car trying to get their attention, but they weren't paying attention. This is so odd to me, because it's like, I feel like in my brain it's like, wouldn't they be like really aware of their surroundings, right? So like we were like behind them. We're in a big car. We're not like in a little car. We're like in a big car. We're like driving behind them, honking, and this girl is like driving, like looking for this guy, and we're like, bro. So then we have to like pull up beside her like car door, and we're like, hey, we were the ones that called. And then Jerome was explaining the situation, and then I see the guy like kind of in front of us, like walking up. He's like walking our way, and I was like, oh, he's right there, right? And then the police girl like swerves, and she thinks we're talking about somebody else in a car, and then she's like talking to him. We're like, no, not the guy in the car. We're talking about the guy that's over there, that's shirtless and jumping and walking around. And she's like, oh, sorry. And she like pulled up to him, and then like we like remained our distance, because Jerome was like, we don't want to like get involved at this point, because like the cops are there now. We shouldn't get involved, right? So we were just like watching from like the sidelines, right, basically. And then they pretty much handled the situation, and I don't really know what happened, because at this point Joy and Jerome's sister came, and we went to the area where we were supposed to pick them up. So, but we did see the cops leave, so we assumed that they like took him in, but like hopefully he does get like the help he needs. That's what I hope. And I'm just glad that like he can't do those things to other people. But I think at the time I was just like really scared, because I have like a lot of like, I don't know, when it comes to like my sister, I think of like all the things like running my brain that could happen, like if we didn't like try to do something to get this guy away. Because like if he didn't leave, if the cops didn't show up and he was still in the area, I was like, bro, like what would we have to do? You know what I mean? Like, would we have to like what is it? Would we have to like get out of the car and like escort like our sisters out? Like we would be like in danger too, you know what I mean? Like with this person out there. And I think I was just like kind of scared that like if he like ran up into the bridge, like Jerome was like, if he ran up the bridge, then he was like, then you'll have to stay in the car and I will get our sisters. I was like, no, I won't leave you. And he was like, nah, like if you come there, it's gonna be a harder situation for me. I was like, you're right. So I was like, yeah. But at the end of the day, it all worked out, and I'm just really glad that like we actually were able to do something about that. But what's also crazy to me was like I was surprised that the dad and the son that were on bikes like didn't call the police themselves. especially this dad being like and looking like in his like late 40s, like you would assume that like, oh, like this guy is harassing people, like we should call, right? But no, they were just like watching. It's like watching is not really gonna do anything. I feel like calling would have um done something, like if like this guy was chasing us personally, right? So like they didn't do it, they didn't call, and I was just like, bro, I was kind of surprised that they didn't, you know what I mean? But I guess it's like, I guess maybe they also like didn't think it was a big enough issue. I'm not really sure why. I'm not really sure, but I don't know. But overall, I'm glad that like we helped the community. Yay! And I hope that guy got help. Basically, good sister Ang. Yo. Depending on the jail, sometimes they'll put him in a crisis cell wearing a modified oven mitt until he settles down a bit. Maybe. I actually don't know. I don't know what happens like in that situation. I don't know what they did to him. They didn't call us back over anything, so I don't know.